Hello, my name is Richard Wisher, and today I'm going to show you how to do a classic Scratch program. We do it in our Coda Dojo. I've been doing it for a number of years, and it's the very first project we start youngsters of 7 off on. So this is a project called Lost in Space. It's on the Raspberry Pi website, our project's website, and it's in Scratch. So here we are. This is the project. I'll show you where you find it. So if I go back, here we go. So this is the project here. It's on, if you do projects.raspberrypi.org, and that will take you to the projects page. And then this is on the second page of the Scratch projects. So we're now going to Lost in Space. These are the instructions for the project. This is what the final project looks like. So you've got asteroids and stars and monkeys and helmets, and you have the spaceship hurtling towards the Earth. So that's what it will look like. We're not going to deal with the monkeys, the stars, or the asteroids. We're just going to concentrate on the ship, the spaceship. So the first part of the project is animating the spaceship. So we go in here, and then we go online to the Scratch projects. This takes me into my workspace, cs_Richard. The folder here contains all my Scratch projects, and you'll see those shortly. I now create a project. So this is us now creating the Scratch project. So this is now in the main Scratch project. So here's our workspace. Here's our program space. Here's the programs that are available within each of the library, and these are what are called blocks, and this is why this is called block programming. The first thing we don't need is the cat. The cat has really become an icon of the whole Scratch concept. Oh, we're okay with that. The first thing we need to do is we need to create our spaceship. So if I do rocket, so I have a rocket, and I also need to have a planet to find. So if I now go into, I think it's that one, I think it might be that. If I do Earth, EARTH, I found the Earth, and then what I need to do is put it on to an appropriate backcloth. So if I use the space backcloths, and there's quite a few of them, but probably the easiest one is the stars one. So now if I put the rocket ship there, I put the Earth up there, and that's has got the elements that we need for our project. And now we need to go into the various parts of it. Let's go into costumes first of all. So if I go to rocket ship and I go into costumes, here's my rocket ship. So if I now go like that and then turn it, let's turn it that way. You can see it turns the same way on the screen, so I can actually reduce the size of it. I can, if I say reduce the size slightly, then everything follows. So if I now go back to the code, so we're now into the code part. So the first thing you normally do is you normally got a starter block. There's a number of different starter blocks you can use, but I'm using the when green flag is clicked, that's this green flag here. If I then do one of the things that is quite important, we're going to be doing loops within this project. And what's quite important in the loop is to actually set the initial parameters, because when you're in the loop, it all get confused and you want to go back to where you started from, when you started up. We want to point in the direction, so that's then about motion, I think it is. So point in direction. And we want to point it in direction, and we don't want 90, we want 0. Point in direction 0. We want to go to an X coordinate and a Y coordinate. So in this one, we're going to minus 150. And we're going to Y minus 150. I think you got to think about here is that you're using a coordinate system where 0, 0 is in the center of the screen. So minus 150 and minus 150 takes you to the bottom left-hand corner. So again, this is an initial condition. An interesting one is to then say, I think it's done quite regularly, is to do a say. Now, say is a look, is not a sound. Easy mistake to make. We want to say, let's go. So we don't want to say hello, we want to say, let's go. And we want to do that for 2 seconds. It's useful to actually pepper your code with these little say statements, because it lets you know when the objects are talking to you, and you're able to work out where you are within the flow of the program. So we now want to do another motion one. We want to point towards various things that you can get it to point towards. You can get it to point towards the mouse pointer, but a good one is that when you put a sprite in, the sprites are referenced here. So we want it to point towards Earth. We now want a repeat loop, so that will be a control loop, and we want to repeat. And we want to repeat 80 times. And then we want to move. So motion, move 10 steps. But we don't want 10 steps, we want it smaller than that, so we want 4. The more value, the higher the value you put in the repeat, and the smaller the actual movement in the move, you get a more continuous movement. You don't get a sort of jerky type movement. We want to now change the color. So we want to change the color effect by 25. So that's this one here. So we want the spaceship to start flashing. And now this is the important one. We want to change the size. So change the size. And we want to change the size. As the space rocket is moving away from us towards the planet, we want it to get smaller and smaller. So it's an optical illusion, really, but it's quite a good one. We put that down as -1. So we should now have a working program. So let's just see if we do that. So we press the green button. And it goes towards the Earth. Let's just do a couple of let's just do a change on that. So instead of doing repeat 80 times, let's repeat it 100 times. So it actually touches the moon when it gets there. Now I'll show you another quick tip, is that if you go into this one here, full screen, I can now take the whole screen up to full screen. And here, if I now do the green flag again, let go, and it changes color and it goes towards the Earth. So that's good. Let's stop it. And let's come out. So that has now got our project all working. So what I want to now show you is, I want to show you how this looks like, what this looks like inside my my Scratch. So I have if I look inside my envelope here, got various projects. That's not too clever. Let's go back. So there's the project. Right now I'll just move myself along out of the way. So Untitled 5 is not a very good term. So if I call it my rocket, and I've now got that as my rocket. So if I now go back into that again here, you can see I've got my rocket here. So what I want to now do is I now want to go from, I've now got my rocket. what I now want to do is I now want to go in, and what I would like to do is share it with other people in my class. So what I would then do, I'd then do a share. So my project is now shared. What I can also do is now pick up a link. So let's pick up the link. And the link here is this part here. And if I now click that, copy it, or I could just click that to copy it. There's also an embed frame here as well, but we're not going to go into that at the moment. That's pretty clever as well. So I've now copied the link. Now what I want to show you now is the final part of this little project. I think it's quite clever. What I want to show you is this Dr. Scratch. So if I go into Dr. Scratch, put myself over here again, and then I put the link to my Scratch project into this block here. And now I can analyze it. So what you can see is the results of my abstraction or my analysis is the software that I've written, the blocks that I've created, have created a score for me in Dr. Scratch. So Dr. Scratch is analyzing my programming. So what it's done, I've got 4 out of 21 points. And with that, I can actually tweet that so people can see what I've been doing, but I won't do that. It's saying that the level of my project is basic. You're beginning a great adventure, keep it up. So a bit of encouragement, but I'm actually really till only a very low level at the moment. But this is showing me what I've been doing. The level flow control, got 2 out of 3. Data representation, I got 1 out of 3. And user interactivity, I've got 1 out of 3. So what I can now do with that project now been analyzed, I can now get a project certificate. So let's have a look at that. So I'll show that in the folder. And go up to the top, I think it's that one. So I now have a certificate from Dr. Scratch. And it says my project, and that's the name, has obtained a score of 4 out of 21. I think that's quite clever. If I now want to go into the project again and have a look at these various elements here, so with, say, flow control, I can go in there and it can tell me why I'm getting the points, and also telling me what I need to do, what sort of things I need to do to get more points. So so if I do something like this, touching, I can get more points. So in other words, I can now gamify what I'm doing. So that's the project. But what I've done is I've done one part of the Scratch project. I've done simply the rocket part of that Raspberry Pi project. I've saved it into my workspace, and I've shared it so that other people can see it in my group, or my mentors can see it, or the people that are teaching me can see it. As well as sharing it, I've also taken the link, I've copied the link to it, and I put that into Dr. Scratch. And then I've used Dr. Scratch to do me a really good analysis of what level I've reached. And Dr. Scratch can produce a certificate for me as well, which I can print and pin up on my wall. But also it allows me to see why I'm not getting higher scores. It gives me suggests some things that I can do to get higher scores. So assessment is really important. And this is a very good way of doing assessment, because you're not absolutely scoring somebody as you would do in a test. You're simply scoring them to give them help and to give them ideas of other things that they can do and to give them some achievement awards. So this is Richard Wishart. I hope you find that useful. And I'll see you next time. So thank you.